We also have high tenant turnover, which is usually caused by the landlords being way too strict on their tenants. They have all these rules about not allowing them to have friends over or this or that, and also they themselves not being able to carry out maintenance and repairs of their homes. So in that case, if a client is occupying a house and then they're leaking taps and they have to pay for the water bill, and the landlord is actually kind of slow in repairing that, it will cause a high tenant turnover. People will actually move out one after the other. And then moving on, we also have property management. You'll find out that it's way too much to deal with. The landlord doesn't have all the time and energy to deal with the tenants' complaints. We also have to look at the common problems that are faced by the tenants. One being evicted without cause or without notice. You'd find out that the landlord is actually just discriminating you, and then they're just evicting you. So if you have listing agents and you have signed a contract, you have to know that you have the right to say no, because it's actually a binding agreement. If you said that you will be in that property for 6 months, you can't just be evicted without cause. And then moving on, we also have slow reaction time of property managers in doing repairs and maintenance of the house. Like I think I've mentioned before, repairs when it comes to leaking taps and waste management or waste collection. When you approach them and tell them that you've been paying for this refuge collection for months, but the waste is just there, no one collects it. They're not really unclear of why the waste is not being collected and the likes. They just ignore you. And then we also have the part whereby the security deposit that you paid from the first time is not being given back to you after your term has elapsed. Normally when you pay a security deposit, it's not the money that the landlord uses to repair their house. It's not the money that they use for their personal things. What had happens is that they get the security deposit from you, but then after your term lapses and there are no damages to the house, they have to pay you back the money in full. Or let's say you broke a window or there was some repairs that were done or carried out on the site. They won't use all the money. There has to be a change, but to be refunded it's something else. They actually refuse. They don't give you receipts. And then we also have the issue of not being given your privacy. You don't have privacy over their property. You'll find out that some landlords at 5, especially those that reside with you on the same property, at 5 o'clock they would knock on your doors telling you to switch off some of the lights that you're not using, or just checking up on you. And they do that throughout the day. You have friends over, they come and knock to see if you guys are not damaging the property, which is not really necessary. You have to give someone the privacy. And the other thing to protect the tenant and the landlord is that there has to be a clean record of your receipts, of the months that you've paid, the months that you have not paid. There has to be in writing to protect you for any future events, because there was a case whereby the landlord had taken a tenant to the court claiming that they did not pay some of the rentals. And luckily for her, she had screenshots of the payments. So we advise you that you do that, include or have receipts for the payments that you have made. So as far as our discussion went, including the things to consider when you're renting out, as well as the common problems that are faced by both the tenant and the landlord. As property agents, specifically BTJ Properties, that's where we come in. We act as the middleman for the tenant and the landlord. We stand in for the landlord even in his absence. We make sure that things are running smoothly. We collect the rents. We handle the tenant complaints, security, and everything for you. So you don't actually have to be here as the landlord. We are here for you, acting on your behalf. And we also make sure that the tenant has a comfortable period of stay and that everything just goes as planned or agreed upon the lease agreement.